Good evening and welcome to the Standards of Geekness podcast. I'm one third of your hosts, Evan Jones, the forever predictions champion, the GOAT. The man
I
who's going to kick Daniel Roberts' ass, Evan Jones.
that is all very true. I am the voice of the villains, the one and only Brian Mercer, and the other guy sitting there doesn't deserve an introduction. You're all gonna figure out why here soon.
No, I deserve an intro. I've missed my intro for the past 2 weeks.
I
Give
tell
me a
you, I
goddamn
tell you what,
intro.
I tell you what, you can get an intro when you get that what if out.
Oh,
Dun dun dun
shots
dun.
fired!
Well,
Shots
let's jump right
fired!
into this week's episode. Normally we would do the GOAT results, but tonight's topic kind of revolves around the GOAT results, so we're inverting the show a little. We're going to go right into Clash of Paris results. Just SmackDown, quick highlight. Only thing of relevance, in my opinion, was Sami Zayn winning the U.S. Championship. It's being viewed as a test
and
run for him as a
also,
singles competitor, which is kind of weird. It's weird that Jacob Batu didn't get his lick back to get the title.
yeah, that sounds a bit.
Not sure what's going on there. Kind of seems like a smorgasbord of dumbass booking. But then again, Road Dogg's involved, so not shocked.
Yeah,
All the bloodline booking seems to be like very sporadic at the moment.
If it's not Roman or Jay, they can't book it right. Like, you can't tell me it wouldn't have been more compelling to build towards Jimmy Uso versus Solo Sikoa for a feud.
yeah.
And Sammy winning the title on a one-off to give him a test run, but he's probably going to drop at the Royal Rumble.
You think he's gonna hold it that long?
Win that belt.
I don't think he's
Who
holding it
knows?
that long.
No, I don't either. He's probably gonna hold it up until like Survivor Series and then drop it.
It wouldn't shock me if it's Survivor Series, but honestly, I'm pretty sure he's going to be in the multi-man match for Survivor Series. So that's why I was thinking like Rumble or like the one after that. Maybe it's the Saturday Night Main Event, the final John Cena one. Who knows?
Yeah, well, knowing WWE, they like to build up Sami Zayn a lot, so they'll probably have him lose it in the first match of the night, and then.
Don't get me wrong. This isn't. We love Sami Zayn here on the podcast, guys. Don't get me wrong. But I think that if you're booking him towards winning the Royal Rumble, you already know he's capable of doing things. This feels nonsensical to try to justify it.
See, this was.
Well, it feels really stop-start. There was all the stuff with Seth Rollins that like just feels really unresolved now.
Yeah.
Just, like, left
To me,
out
it
of a
just-
branch.
To me, it was just kind of sloppy.
And
It
also,
feels so much like the
It
Roman
really-
Reigns situation.
it's really awkward to have like. I know that Jacob Fatu and Sami Zayn aren't a team,
No,
but they're both so closely affiliated with the Usos and everything that it's awkward. You know what I mean? Like, so Jacob comes back and he's going to put down Sammy.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it just. Unless your plan is to turn Jacob back heel, which is also very confusing because he's getting way too good a babyface reaction to do that.
Oh no, he's definitely not going heel. He's definitely staying babyface.
The way they've been, I mean, I don't disagree, but like the way they've been booking things, as predictable as the pay-per-views have been, Friday Night SmackDown's been kind of chaotic. Like in terms of like consistency, it's just not there.
they need someone who's got like actual good booking skills. That's not fucking Road Dogg. I mean, Road Dogg, he's a good wrestler, but he's not a good booker. We've seen what he's done before, and it's quite poor.
I'm actually going to give you a really unpopular opinion when we get all done with the Clash in Paris results. So that's a spoiler right now.
All right, let's jump right into the results. So, your Forever Predictions champion is still your People's champion, the Forever Predictions champion. I will say, Brian, this did technically end in a tie. You did switch one of your answers. I'm still calling it a tie, but ties are deferred to champions by our rules.
I'll give
Roman
you
Reigns.
I'll give you the honorary
Oh,
fist bump there. Well,
Yeah.
Do you know what sucks about this whole thing? It's so like annoying because it's so predictable, and it's like we already knew going into it who we knew was going to win. I wanted some different changes. I wanted Logan Paul to win. I wanted bronze and weed to him, but I can't have anything fucking nice these days. It's always like it's like predictable. It's the obvious answer.
Well, Roman Reigns needed to get his lick back, and then they need to, especially if he's going to play a Kuma in Street Fighter, which is like the big bad of Street Fighter.
I feel like
So right
this should have been like
give him
once
the
a
dub
week.
to on Dan. This gives him the dub to get him back on his winning track, so that way he's got the momentum when he comes back. This also sets up a storyline for him to take on Ron Breakker now, Spear versus Spear. Then it'll set up. It's going to eventually lead to him and Seth feuding for the title. You know, obviously, Punk's kind of a factor too. Brian and I both got this right. The one match on this card, the next one that none of us knew, because I think I must have missed when they booked it or announced it. The Wyatt Six defeated the Street Profits for the tag titles.
I'm pretty sure they didn't announce this. I didn't hear anything about it.
I think it was in the middle of SmackDown. Like, I think it was literally like a commercial break announcement.
See, I don't know why they keep doing this. Like, why would you?
I believe you have a catchphrase that adequately describes this booking.
Do you fucking better?
Do fucking better, and it's gimmick infringement.
Like, why would you book something without telling your audience? Like, especially when the pay-per-view's on the Saturday and this is a Friday, so it's.
I mean, I'm okay with you telling us the Friday before if there's been at least a build up to this. Well, like, to me, this makes zero sense. The Street Profits, like, are they teasing a breakup? They've been kind of hemming and hawing here. I think it's going to eventually lead to them breaking up, which I think is a huge loss to the tag team division. The Wyatt Six, they do nothing for me. I don't understand, like, why are you keeping... It's almost like they're keeping the tag division kind of, in stasis, like it's like a paralysis of booking almost. It's the antithesis of what they've been doing.
It's almost like it'd be really nice if someone, I don't know who, just pick any bald nugget, like, wrote a storyline about the Wyatt Six and, how that would be successful.
Yeah, they might be worthy of an HKW championship match,
Mate, I'm trying my best to fix this fucking storyline. It's fucking trying to put sellotape and fucking glue together.
2 weeks ago, you were bragging that you could fix anything. Like we said, don't write checks your ass can't cash. We just want to see you do the work. We're breaking Dan's balls a little bit because he's said he's going to do this video for a few weeks, guys. But in all seriousness,
it's difficult to get a good ending for this. It's
just do it. Just fucking do it. Just fucking do better. Becky Lynch defeated Nikki Bella. This was the clunkiest match of the night. It was a stinker.
A little
like
bit.
Both women did not.
Nikki Bella is not. Like, ring rust is a real thing. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, they should have kept her in the tag position to kind of hide that for a little bit to get her up to speed.
Yeah, she was. Tag matches where you're protected, are a lot easier. Putting her out there in this one-on-one display in a high-profile situation, if it was, 10 years ago, then I don't think it's a problem. But I just think it's just general ring rust.
Yeah. My favorite part of the match was the fact that she went up for that top rope kick and then just completely whiffed it, and then like Becky sold it, and I'm just like, if it was me and that would have happened, if I was Becky, I would have Samoa Joe no-sold it. That would have made it at least better. Kevin Nash had some interesting comments regarding Becky's promo last week, and then he's talked about this match, and he hits the nail on the head. Becky Lynch as a heel can work when given the right opponent. The Lyra Valkyrie stuff and Bayley stuff worked. Nikki Bella is not the correct opponent for this. I really hope they move her in a different direction now that she's, spoiler alert, with the Vision. My favorite match of the night was actually Rusev defeating Sheamus. It was, and I'm not normally the slobber knocker, battling brawler match, but they did a really good job. And that finish where he like used the shillelagh and then did a rollback accolade was just like beautiful.
Do you know? Honestly, I really want to see Gunther versus Rusev because I feel like that'll fucking be
Oh
a
yeah,
somewhere. I feel
I
like that match
I
is gonna
can't
kill.
wait. So Rusev's the heel in this match, right?
Yeah.
Like, but did you guys notice throughout the whole match he wasn't getting booed, even
No.
acting heelish?
I didn't really expect him to get booed because Rusev's current heel is, and I felt this way with his, with him in his debut. I felt this way a lot with his AEW stuff. I don't feel like he's given a real motivation. He's just sent out there and expected to portray a motivation that he already had, and we're never actually giving him a motivation to do something. Like the closest thing we had, and I hate to bring up this storyline because we all know how god awful it was, but legitimately, the closest thing he ever had to a motivation was that horrible Lana storyline.
I mean, I enjoyed it.
You would. So Dan, I want you to take offense to this. You are the total divas era of a fan here. You suffer from recency bias on almost everything, but the fact that you enjoyed that, I have lost respect for you. I now rank you lower than Vince Russo. I rank you lower than Vince Russo. I rank you lower than Vince Russo. I have said it, so it shall be done.
I mean, he is my dad, so anything below him is actually a compliment.
Yeah, you would blow Vince Russo. Anyways, bro. Oh God. Oh
no. My God! Imagine him and Matt Riddle, the bros.
No. I don't know if you guys are familiar with The League, the show, the fantasy football comedy show, The League. There's a thing in there where Rafi talks about your vinegar strokes. That's the face you make and the noise you make when you. I just had a mental image of Vince Russo doing that. Anyways, moving along. John Cena defeated Logan Paul. Brian and I got this correct. Daniel, you picked Logan Paul. I know you were happy to see Cena win. He's your goat.
Oh yeah.
But like, this match was a good one too. Honestly, this was probably I'd put Rusev and Sheamus in this one and at like 1A, 1B, kind of interchangeable. They were both really good. It was nice seeing Cena pull out the finishers to like AJ Styles with the Styles Clash, the End of Days with Baron Corbin. I thought I saw an angle slam.
Can we now just say like Logan Paul has earned his stripes? Like he's earned his.
No one's saying that Logan Paul hasn't earned his stripes. He's performed adequately in the ring. He's excelled. He's good in the ring. The problem is everything that predates Logan Paul is why people hate him. It's not that he's a heel for the sake of a heel and he's getting beat. It's that literally he has permanent go away heat because he's just a fucking douche.
Yeah, and obviously like he has tried to change. I mean, obviously with the crypto stuff as well, that's not a good look either. But
I'm not saying that he hasn't changed. And he's, from what I've heard, he's well respected in the locker room. From what I've read, he's well respected.
I think when you become
the problem is everything that predates when he came in is still overshadowing that.
I do think
the way to fix this is you have him keep going down this heel route, and you get, because he's starting to get cheered a little bit here, and he was getting cheered during that Cena match. Keep pairing him up with the right people. You can turn him babyface, and I think you could get a crowd behind him as a babyface. Honestly, they're at, on a scale of 1 to 10, they're at a 4 right now.
Well, and realistically, it kind of doesn't make sense for Logan Paul to be being booked as a heel. Like, it would make a lot more sense to turn him babyface when you have this affiliation with Prime. I mean, the fact that just facts are facts. Baby faces sell more merch.
Yeah.
It's the truth. It's absolute fucking truth.
Unless you're the NWO, and then
they kind of broke the mold on that. And truth be told, Austin was selling merch as a heel. They didn't turn him babyface till after that. That era kind of defied logic. You look at today, you look at the Cody Rhodes, the Bianca Belair, Jey Usos, they're the ones moving merch. The Karrion Kross, even though he was a heel, he kind of defied the mold. Which I still don't understand that situation. And then Seth Rollins defeated CM Punk, Jey Uso, and LA Knight. This was a solid match. Becky getting involved was something that I think we talked about a while back here. This has to be setting up something with AJ Lee.
I mean, they have been teasing it, especially just on War.
Given this match and given what happened on Monday night, which I'm going to highlight something that is hilarious.
I swear to God, if it's Nikki Bella, I am gonna fucking lose my goddamn mind.
There have already been some leaks and spoilers that the main event for WrestlePalooza to counter program All In is supposed to be a cross-gender tag team match. AJ Lee and CM Punk versus Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins.
And before I just have to say that like the whole concept of counter programming really irks me on a fundamental level. Like it pisses me off to where I'm not gonna watch your show live. Like I'm gonna go back and catch the recaps.
I gotta ask though, generally, like what's the difference between this and then like WCW versus WWF? Like, isn't it basically the
because
same
you had the option to go live and flip back and forth with the TV, so you had the choice. But the way they're doing it now is they're making it an impossible choice. Their goal here is they're planning on stacking up the card as much as they can for WrestlePalooza in the hopes of undercutting any buys that All Out has. It's All Out.
I think what really the thing that needs to be remembered is competition is good. We want WWE and AEW competing with each other for our attention. Okay, that's good. Okay, but they're making us compete with wallets, with tribalism, with hate. It's not about love as a wrestling fan. Like, you know, you might not understand this, but back in the Monday Night Wars, you know, you had WWF versus WCW, and that's I'm sure they were a lot at odds. But as a wrestling fan, you know, I might be a WCW fan, Evan's a WWF fan. We're not at odds. We're just like, I'm like, let me tell you this cool thing that was on my show. He's like, well, let me tell you this cool thing that's on my show. And we're going back and forth, and we're getting the most out of both of it. And that's what it should be and what it could be. But that's not what we're getting right now. I mean, realistically, AEW programming has been getting better, but it's still just, you know, kind of mediocre. There's some good segments and there's some bad segments, but you're not consistently getting a high level quality show. You're getting about the same quality that you were getting in 2007, 2008 from WWE. WWE isn't putting out an exceptional product at the moment. Nothing about WWE feels like it's must see. Nothing is making me like go, okay, even though I don't want to see Brock Lesnar, I'm going to tune in to see what's going on. There is literally nothing that is enticing me like that. And when you don't have either side, giving you that, well,
you're not going to tune in.
Yeah,
it's two competing toilet stalls, man. Like I don't care.
Well, yeah. And I think the thing that's important to remember also is that like ultimately, like you said, competition's good. But when you're intentionally trying to undermine and ruin the other company, that's not competition at that point. That is, corporate. It's legalized corporate espionage. And honestly, like, I'm just gonna say it. WWE had a monopoly from basically 2001, 2002 until 2019.
Mm-hmm.
You know who suffered the most during that time? Us as fans, because we didn't have the fucking choice. We didn't have a choice when it came to what we could see on our TVs. We didn't have a choice with our wallets. It was, if you wanted to watch wrestling, it was watch ROH, which
TNA.
would never get there. Watch TNA, which was never going to get there, which is now a WWE subsidiary. ROH for AEW. But let's be real here. WWE hasn't been must watch in 10 plus years. Like, if we're being honest, 10 plus years was the last time it's really been must watch.
Mm-hmm.
AEW hasn't been must watch since 2021, 2022.
I will say, I think WWE was must watch from like when Vince left, so what, 2022, up until I think the high point, the peak point was Mania 40. And I think since then it's just rapid.
Mania, I understand that the numbers might have been better for 40, but I honestly think the peak was 39.
You're not wrong.
And
that was a true peak.
And while I'm at it, making unpopular statements, one about Clash in Paris, and here it is. I think they booked it right. I think this pay-per-view was booked 100% right, and I'm going to tell you why. I don't think that every pay-per-view or every show needs to be some colossal surprise fest, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The bottom line is this is the first time WWE went to France, the first time they went to Paris, and those fans, they got everything that they wanted out of their live show. They got to see their championship match. They got to see their surprise return from Roman Reigns and the attack on Seth Rollins to feel like you're progressing stories. You got to see the growth of the Division with Becky Lynch joining. You got to see Cena getting the W. You got to see the slobber knocker between Rusev and Sheamus. When we're looking at it through the lens of every show that comes down the pipe, it's really easy for us to, scrutinize and to give a thumbs down to things. But I'm guessing that every single fan that didn't pay an exorbitant price for a weekend package had a really great time.
Guys, stop buying these fucking packages from them. You're only encouraging them to do more. Stop paying $1,000 to $2,000 for shitty food that you could buy at home and make at home.
Yeah,
and to meet superstars who, no offense, they're not the superstars you're paying big bucks to see. They're the guys who are there early because they don't have a whole lot going on.
Actually, you know what? No, I would pay for the food because obviously French food is actually quite good. So I probably would.
It wasn't French. It wasn't French food though. It was like chicken fingers and like other things. It was like mediocre catering food that you could find anywhere in the States and anywhere in the world. Really.
From what I saw about the packages, the catering was the thing they complained about the least.
Yes.
When you're supposed to get
meet and greets.
VIP entrance early to the event and you are let in 45 minutes late, when you're supposed to be given like meet and greet time and don't get any, when you're supposed to be given, commemorative souvenirs and you're given like a crappy little pin. Like, come on, man. They used to give the folding chairs with the specialized folding chairs. Those are nice, man. I've seen those.
Full disclosure, guys, those shitty little pins that they're giving you out there, WWE probably paid 85 cents per pin. 85 cents per pin.
I feel like maybe these days, like WWE is being really like stingy with their money. It's
TKO maximizing their greed to try to pay down their UFC debt, which they shouldn't have any more of because of the new Paramount deal. But they're forcing us to pay for UFC's faulty ass business model.
But then I don't understand why they put UFC if that's what they really care about, which is pretty much
TKO owned UFC for years before they bought WWE.
Here's a
WWE
stat
was
for
brought in to weigh the scales.
So
like,
that's
UFC
what they
was
were. They were
losing
just
money
the second
regularly.
option. They were never like the first. They were never considered as potentially bigger than UFC.
Dan, let me give you an idea of how crazy the money-making machine the WWE is. Clash in Paris, they just had a bigger gate, as in WWE made more money than Taylor Swift made when she played Paris.
Same stadium. WWE made more money than the Taylor Swift Eras Tour, the largest tour in all of the musical tours ever. Where the cheapest ticket prices are $2,000-$3,000.
And WWE made more money. Come on, you can't tell me you're not price gouging.
Every single time I hear them say, "This is the largest gate," I get pissed off.
Me too.
That's you taking like a band of like $100,000 and just going.
See, honestly, I don't know where they go from it. Then, like, if their true intention was UFC, and they eventually do have to get rid of WWE for whatever reason, who's gonna fucking buy it? I mean, that's just
no. Now they've got two profitable companies now that they both have long-term deals. WWE is with Netflix for what, 5 years? They just signed another deal with ESPN for another 5 years. So like.
And plus, you got to put on top of that, you got the Saudi money, which is kind of can't be coming in.
WWE is bringing in tons of money. UFC wasn't up. They were like barely. It was barely profitable the last couple of years. They had a huge. It was mostly tied up in debt though. Now that they have that Paramount deal, which also, what the fuck? If you can get that kind of deal for the UFC on Paramount, why wouldn't you put WWE on the same fucking platform? Instead, now we've got to pay $29.99 a month for PLE access. Well, you know what? These dumb motherfuckers forgot to turn it off of Peacock, and I get to watch it on there.
It was really nice of Stephanie McMahon to remind everybody that you can go ahead and get a VPN.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Like on her podcast, where she was like plugging a VPN. Even she knows that we're being fucked.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, the next few years, most people are going to be watching, WWE from like a VPN because they're not going to pay $29.99 just to watch.
Like, I can get a VPN for $40 and be good.
Yeah, you can pay for that for a year and then you're sorted.
Yeah, and then it's just it's ridiculous, and I just, to me, it's really disheartening as a wrestling fan to see more monopolization tactics and more of our fellow fans being taken advantage of. Open your guys' fucking eyes. Realize you are being taken advantage of. And don't get me wrong, AEW is far from perfect, but at least we're not being fucked in the ass and gouged at the same time. This is where I would have played that video that Dan was going to create.
It's true. It's true. WWE can be a really, really shitty company. But you know who's not a really shitty company? DuelingGuard.com. Ladies and gentlemen, go to DuelingGuard.com. They are the sponsor of tonight's podcast, and you can get yourself 15% off of your gaming merchandise using the code SOG15. Still doing our deck box giveaways. So make sure to share the podcast tonight, do all the stuff, because that's coming to an end really, really quick. And DuelingGuard.com.
Yeah, I'm excited. They've got tons of new things happening. There's about to be some drops this weekend. Make sure you check out their site. And every bit you guys buy from them goes to helping the podcast, too. Raw this week was much better than SmackDown was. That's just miles better. Finn Balor got his first singles win in God knows how fucking long. 2 years.
It's so painful to watch Finn Balor on screen every week because you just see him. You can tell the light has gone out there. Like the passion is gone. He's just doing it for the paycheck at this point.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think he's having fun.
Yeah, he's very fun, but I don't think he's...
I legit think there's an element of funny in just like the goofing off backstage skits. I mean, if he wanted to be winning more, I think that he could probably vocalize that. I just don't think he cares. I think there's an element of it, like he's accepted that he's not going to be in the spotlight as the guy. And I think that happened after that whole Roman Reigns thing, and now he's just making the best of what he has.
But here's the thing, like I understand if it comes from like AJ recently, where he's doing like comedy skits. That makes sense. He's kind of like his peak. You know, he's now on his kind of like way out the company. He's just doing whatever he wants. Fair enough to him. But Finn is still. I don't think he's that old. I think he's what, late 30s, early 40s.
Vincent is, I think 42, 43.
Yeah, so he's.
Let me double check.
Yeah, like he's still not young, but he's still young 44. In like Western age, essentially. Like most wrestlers retire like what, 50, 60 usually?
Well, Finn is 44 years old. AJ Styles is 48.
Yeah, so
50s around that time where a lot of them used to be wrestlers would go until they were in their late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah.
When it would be sad.
I want to ask this actually weird, strange question, because I feel like it's a question I think needs to be discussed. Do you think we will see? It's such a rough topic to say. Do you think we'll see like modern wrestlers from today, like I say, like late 2010s to like now? Like, do you think we'll see them have the same kind of problems as these former wrestlers from like the 90s and early 2000s, where they die off too soon?
Mm-hmm. Yes and no. It depends. Wrestlers from that era, like the golden age, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, there's rampant drug use. Cocaine, methamphetamine, crack.
Yeah.
Not to mention painkillers. Well, weed's not a drug, but so there's a lot of that. Steroids. There's a lot of that going on. And all of the serious drugs like that, they have an impact on your body. I do think DDP is doing tremendous work. Special shout out to DDP. He had a AFib situation a couple weeks ago. Thoughts and prayers out to him. Hope he recovers quick. I don't think we'll see as many, but I think it also depends on how they take care of themselves post wrestling.
I feel like it's not like obviously Wyatt like Brody Lee, like Bray Wyatt are kind of like recent wrestlers that kind of died, but it's like
but their situations were very different.
Yeah,
like they had underlying health issues that were complicated for a variety of reasons, which if you can look it up. We're not going to get into either of their situations particular. Getting back to Raw, I thought it was nice to see the Kabuki Warriors pick up a dub over Judgment Day. Asuka making Roxanne tap out was interesting. Hopefully that's a nice way to keep building them forward. There's no way Asuka isn't turning on Io at some point, the way they're booking this. It wouldn't shock me if it happens at WrestlePalooza.
Are you not like, maybe it's just me, do you not feel bored sometimes of Asuka, like of her constantly turning heel and face?
She's been face for like 2 years.
Actually, I thought she'd been like
I guess damage control.
There was that weird damage control period.
Yeah, but she was injured for like half of it. She wasn't on our screen for over a year.
No, I think us like I agree with you. I just don't think yet is the time. I think WrestlePalooza seems way too soon for that turn. I think you can get a lot more out of it. I think you could take that to January, have her turn at the Rumble, and then you can take the
feud. I mean and you could have Rhea, and Io team up to take on the Kabuki Warriors, especially if you have the Kabuki Warriors win the women's tag belts. You can definitely build towards that. Get Rhea Ripley out of the main event scene, help build up some newer stars.
Oh, I mean, even if you did something like the Kabuki Warriors win the tag titles, and then they lose it to they lose them to the Judgment Day, just in time for our little blonde sweetheart to come on back.
Yeah.
When do you think they should split up the Judgment Day, though? I mean, it's kind of run its course at this point. Like, it's surely.
I wouldn't say that. They're constantly involved in segments. They're still actively doing stories. I don't think it's ran its course yet. The old versions had. I think once Liv comes back, which she has to be winning the women's rumble at this point. Like the way the timelines of how things. If she's back at the rumble, she's winning the rumble. She's going to challenge. If I had to guess, I don't really want to put the belt on Roxanne or Raquel. Maybe she doesn't need to win the women's rumble, but she could be the big return. But like have her be the one to finish the Judgment Day. Have her and Rhea reunite. That could work too.
Her and Rhea reunite would be wild, man. Like that's some crazy booking.
You could get there.
I'm for it. I'm all for it. But that's a wild idea.
I want to see them together back as Batman and Catwoman again.
Sick little pervert.
We still let him talk?
Yeah. Dan's like the cuck chair of wrestling talk shows. He just says shit and just sits in the corner. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm working both Brian and Dan. Dominic Mysterio defeated AJ Styles for the Intercontinental Championship. He had El Grande Americano help him. I'm gonna guess AJ eventually gets the dub here and the IC title. You could also, there's logic behind having Dominic and Cena be the December match for the IC title. Have Cena retire as IC champ.
All right, look. I was paying really close attention. I don't think it's the same guy under the mask.
Correct. It is a taller guy. It's not Chad Gable anymore.
He's definitely taller.
It's Juan Cena. That has to happen, honestly. That has to happen.
Oh my god, we need to see that El Grande Americano versus Juan Cena.
No, actually, real talk. During that match, I don't know if you noticed, right there at the finish, when he messed up AJ, he went into the Ludwig Kaiser mannerisms. Mm-hmm. Did you notice that? Like very straight, prim and proper. And
you do know it's
man, like, right? You're giving away the goose.
Yeah.
You do know
I'm going to be shocked if Chad Gable gets that gimmick back when he comes back.
What do you mean? It's not Chad Gable. That's what you're saying. It's not Chad Gable. It's Ludwig Kaiser. We all know it's Ludwig Kaiser.
Dan, you're supposed to suspend your disbelief. Fucking Mark.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? It's Ludwig Kaiser. Don't be crazy, Dan.
Well, he stands like a German.
The main event was Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed defeating Jey Uso and LA Knight. This was a good match. Jimmy Uso making the chair save. Usos reuniting. My pick for moment of the night was probably the CM Punk opening the show, waiting for Seth Rollins. His promo calling out Seth and only for Becky to come out to Seth's music. And, like, I'm just going to point this out. She slapped the shit out of him so many times, but then she, like, motorboated him. It was weird as fuck. It was like...
It should have been me.
Yeah, especially after last week. I'm still haunted by those.
I mean, there's not going to be any haunting images in your mind for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to apologize for Dan taking his shirt off last week. We were told by the FCC that it was lewd behavior, that the British are not known for taking their tops off. We apologize to anyone blinded by the whiteness, the baldness, and or seeing hairy nipples.
And to the women who saw that, you're welcome.
No. You know what? My daughter wasn't allowed to watch last week's episode because it would have traumatized her. All right, you are just vile. You have go away heat.
I mean, this is just sexy though.
No, seriously, go away. Just go away.
This is pure sexiness. This is 100% pure sex appeal.
First comment of the night. Thank you, Steve.
Your friendly neighborhood white crawler. For those who don't know, Steve's a close personal friend of mine since high school. We used to call him Whitey because he's so white he would glow in the dark. Yeah, Raw was just way better than SmackDown was. Like, whoever's booking Raw, go over to SmackDown and help Road Dogg. Speaking of helping yourself, make sure you go to duelingguard.com, enter the code SOG15 so you can get 15% off all your gaming merch. They've got sleeves, they've got mats, they've got deck boxes, they've got binders, they've got tons of stuff.
Do they have a bra for my tits?
They've got this, which we are still doing a giveaway on. We really appreciate you guys helping us grow the channel. We're extending it a little bit, give people plenty of time with the holidays and everything. It's free of charge. All you got to do is subscribe, like, share, wherever you can follow us, TikTok, YouTube, you name it. You get bonus entries. We're aiming to pick a winner, hopefully by the end of this month.
Maybe the next giveaway could be me. You know, you could spend a day with me.
You know what? That's
trying to get people to like subscribe and come back, Dan.
I mean, who wouldn't want to spend a time with me? You know, you get to indulge in my British accent. You know, I get to say stuff like fish and chips and a tea time.
So I'm curious. I wonder how much people would pay to punch Dan in the face.
That's a money making idea.
That might be our next giveaway.
That would have a bigger
subscription you give us on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook and all the socials. Maybe we'll have to do a raffle to see, you know, and you guys can buy tickets for punching Dan.
How many punches am I taking? I'm taking one.
It's going to be just one. But I wonder how much we could get. Hell, I think Chris would give us $1,000 to be able to do it.
Oh, fuck.
Let's just take him to Paris. We'll have a bigger gate than Taylor Swift and WWE.
Is it just going to be people just queuing up to punch me in the face?
No, Steve, we don't want to do chops. We saw him without a shirt on last week.
Yeah,
so
we don't.
His tits are going to jiggle for a week.
On.
Yeah, his tits will jiggle for a week. Speaking of jiggling, let's move on over to AEW. We had Darby versus Claudio in a Falls Count Anywhere match. This was a solid match. I'm still wondering where they're going with the Death Riders angle. I think they're building them up to now be the mid-card bad guys, like the gatekeepers. We're seeing like Daniel Garcia and Moxley have matches, but like Moxley's trying to recruit Garcia to like give like a new edge to the Death Riders.
The Death Riders. Just get rid of it, please, for Christ's sake.
We were the same way for the longest time, Dan. We have to give the Death Riders their props. They did do a good job. They got people over. It was just slightly unconventional, and it took a while to get there.
I mean, at least I like the Young Bucks now. I guess that's a bonus. At least that's something.
Speaking of the Young Bucks, I want to point out something that Booker T said on his show about the gummy bear spot in the Lights Out match. Booker, you're complaining I don't watch AEW because of, silly ass shit like that, like the gummy. Didn't you fight in a supermarket brawl with Stone Cold Steve Austin and your dick fell out live on air?
I'm sure it's the same guy that made a career out of the spinneroonie. Maybe he shouldn't be talking about other people doing goofy stuff. Didn't you had a tag team with Gold Dust? You got humped by a mini Gold Dust. Not to mention, you let Vince McMahon say the N-word to you live on air. The King Booker stuff wasn't exactly the most serious gimmick.
I mean, he offered his wife to John Cena to have sex with.
And Kurt Angle.
He's offered to a lot of people, to be fair.
Obviously, those were Vince's ideas, but don't criticize it as silly if you don't understand it. That's fine.
I mean, it's probably why he sleeps on the couch most nights.
Dan, you sleep on the couch most nights too. Anyways, we had is it just me or Chris Statlander and Harley Cameron? This tag team's slowly growing on me.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if it's just because Harley Cameron's such an enigmatic presence that she can kind of get anybody over into a tag team.
That's an interesting.
But they're built.
Something you're attracted to her.
No, I mean,
I think-
we're
I
not
think
going to go down that road. You're not wrong, but no, but like I've just noticed that like they pair her up with Anna Jay, they pair her up, with Statlander. She was part of a team with Soraya and Tony, and all these times she's been involved. I think there's a slow build here, but I'm really thinking we're going to get an AEW Women's Tag Team title in the near future. It would not shock me if it's by Double or Nothing next year. And then my AEW moment of the week was probably Christian Cage getting the dead father thing over as a babyface. That was hilarious. Hey, Dex. Hey, Wheeler Cash. I hear you have a father. That bitch is...
I think we had to question it. Do we feel like WWE was the problem? Like, anywhere he's gone, he's always done really well. It's just...
It absolutely was. It was... Well, I mean, if you think about it, he hasn't been there since... He was there when Vince was there. So, like, I don't know what he'd be like under a Triple H regime. But clearly it was WWE. They never saw him as a main eventer. They never saw him as anything more than a mid-card hard work guy. And he was the first real domino to leave WWE and go make a name somewhere else. Like, on a U.S. national promotion since WCW fell. Because his run in TNA, that initial, like, as the NWA champ, and, like, the feuding with AJ and teaming with AJ and Kurt and Tomko and all those guys, it was gold. Yeah. Everywhere he's gone has been gold, except WWE. WWE was still gold, but, like, as a singles guy,
and it's weird because
he's done better otherwise.
Like growing up, I always saw like Christian as like the younger brother, or like the guy who's like below Edge. Like he's not as good as Edge. He's like Edge, like B+.
I mean, I personally would argue he's a better wrestler than Edge, but
yeah,
he's a better in-ring hand. Like Edge had more.
I personally think he's a better heel than Edge.
I do too. Well, maybe modern Edge.
No, like
I mean,
I've seen Edge try. Look, dude, Rated R Superstar versus like Christian going full on patriarchy. Christian wins.
I mean, but to be fair, Edge having sex in the ring with Leap was quite interesting. But then I did watch that.
Like, one track mind, you little pervert.
I watched it as a 9-year-old child.
Well, Vince got over what he wanted to get over, so I guess good for him there.
What's it like being groomed from 3,000 miles away by a 70-year-old man? What's the matter, Daniel Weinstein? Pip and a Cheerio and a tip in your mouth.
You didn't just say what I thought you just said.
I'm just surprised that after he said it, your mouth just opened. Like on command.
That's made it funnier.
I'm not going to mention Mr. Weinstein's name because
tonight's show is going south fast. Pull up.
All right. Well, in terms of wrestling news, I think we've covered pretty much everything this week. Let's jump right into our GOAT results. So the GOAT results from last week, we have John Chang defeating Cody Raheem Rhodes. This seemed like an easy decision to me. Maybe Cody will get there eventually, but like 17-time world champion. He carried the company for 10 plus years. The dub is there. Shawn Michaels versus Jake the Snake.
For you, Cody, just so it wouldn't be a shutout.
Shawn Michaels defeated Jake the Snake. This makes sense. Jake the Snake, one of the greatest heels of all time, one of the best promos of all time. Not a comparison when it comes to the Mr. WrestleMania, the showstopper. It's just different levels. Kurt Angle defeated Andre the Giant. Kurt, the Giant Killer at this point, defeated Big Show last round. He's everyone, he's beating almost everybody pretty clearly, pretty wide margins. Peak Angle might just be the sleeper of this tournament. We use Peak around here, Daniel. I saw your eyebrows raised. And then Ric Flair defeated Bray Wyatt. Ric Flair defeated Bray Wyatt. Now, Daniel, I saw you voted twice because you can't read rules, and I understand British public schools aren't really that great.
I didn't realize I voted twice. Okay, I didn't realize I was on another account when I put it through.
But you then made the stupid decision in our podcast chat to challenge me to a debate. We'll get to that in a minute. I'm gonna smoke you here in a minute. The next four up for round 3. We're into round 3, guys. So we're ready to do 4 more matches for next week. We've got Mick Foley, Mrs. Foley's baby boy, versus the phenomenal AJ Styles. We've got Rey Mysterio Jr. versus The Undertaker. We've got Gorilla Monsoon versus Owen Hart. And then we've got Mr. Kenneth Omega versus Chick Magnet Punk, CM Punk. Kind of an interesting matchup there. Hope there's no backstage brawls.
We want Pepsi Man to win.
There's really,
we don't influence votes here, Dan.
I'm really torn between. We were talking about that a little bit before the show. I'm really curious to see what everybody else is going to vote for that. But yeah, you two really got into it. I was kind of surprised how heated it was getting in the chat between these two cats. Evan definitely was on the side of Ric Flair, and Dan was really on the side of Bray Wyatt. So tonight we're going to have ourselves a little debate. Evan is going to defend Ric Flair being the greatest of all time, and Dan is going to take the side of why Bray Wyatt is better than Ric Flair. And as for me, hold on one second, guys.
Now, Dan, I know you're not familiar with holding an HKW championship, and you won't be after tonight either. But I'm just going to let you know what I do to you is going to be very public, very raw, and very deep.
And what I'm going to do to you is I'm not going to get you angry. I'm not going to get you upset.
And what I'm going to do to both of you...
Fucker.
Wow, way to flip off the referee. That is not a good way to start your match.
This kind of blatant disregard
I take it back.
Is not appreciated. It's not appreciated.
Dan,
but here tonight in this debate,
fighting champion.
Evan has agreed to go ahead and put his title on the line. So Evan, I'll go ahead and take that. All right. The belt is on the line.
Oh, so close.
All right. So, Dan, would you like to start since you're the challenger?
Yes. And for once, I've got a Word document. So
you put effort into it? Holy shit, what if?
I've done some research. I've actually put the time in. So let me get my notes up.
Oh, if you would have done that, you would have won an HKW championship.
Really? Right. Here we go. Right.
Daniel's going to make a bunch of bullshit points here.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ric Flair is a legend. No one can deny that. 16-time world champion. The Robes. The Woos. He is part of wrestling history forever. But tonight, I will prove something greater. That Bray Wyatt was a better wrestler than Ric Flair. Because wrestling is not just about the titles or the decades spent in the ring. Wrestling is about storytelling. It's about emotion. It's about connection and about those measures. Bray Wyatt towers above Ric Flair. My first point, the master of creativity. Ric Flair has had one character, the Nature Boy, the limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling, dealing, son of a gun playboy. Fun, iconic, but also shallow. Bray Wyatt, though, gave us worlds. He wasn't just a wrestler, he was a myth maker. The cult leader with fire in his words, the sinister children's TV host, the monster in the mask. Each of these personas were just a gimmick. Wasn't just a gimmick. It was a story.
No, they were.
A universe, a reflection of our own fears and darkness. Flair stayed one note. Bray Wyatt, though, composed a symphony. Point number 2, storytelling beyond the ring. Ric Flair could make a match exciting, but Bray Wyatt could make a feud unforgettable. Think about
No, he made quite a few of them very forgettable, Dan.
Hold on, Evan.
No.
Evan, back to your corner. We're gonna let Dan talk.
I should get a chance to rebut his points.
You will get a chance to rebut here in a second. I'm gonna let Dan get through this next point, and then Evan's gonna get a chance to talk. But Dan, you're not gonna get to go on for 30 straight minutes.
No, there's not gonna be 30 minutes. Like
I'm the referee here. I have to keep things official.
Okay. Think back to WrestleMania 36. Bray Wyatt versus John Cena. That wasn't just a match. It was a psychological journey. It tore down Cena's career, exposed his insecurities, and became one of the most talked about matches in WWE history of all time. Flair had formulas. Same moves, same style, every match. Bray Wyatt made every feud a unique story. He didn't wrestle matches. He painted nightmares. Point number 3.
Okay. I'm gonna cut you off now, Dan. You've had the chance to make 2 points.
Okay.
Evan, I'm gonna give Evan that same thing. Evan's gonna get 2 points now.
Okay.
Uncontested. I don't want to hear nothing from you. Back to your corner.
The reality is Daniel is going to come out here. He's going to tell you all these things, and he's going to lie to you. He's going to lie to you and make you believe that Bray Wyatt, God rest his soul, was larger than he is. Do not mistake my debate here as an undermining of Bray Wyatt's legacy or his impact. He was a creative soul, a creative person, a creative wrestler. But to come out here and say that he was a better wrestler than Ric fucking Flair is not only a sin against wrestling, a sin against the wrestling gods. It is a crime against nature and a drastic misnomer of who Ric Flair is. Yes, Ric Flair had one character his entire career. He mastered it. He lived it. He breathed being the nature boy. The man defined the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. Without Ric Flair, there is no modern day wrestling. There isn't a Hulk Hogan coming to WCW, Hulk Hogan reviving his career. There isn't a wrestling that is global, that is backed with the NWA brand. Stars are made like the Von Erichs. Stars made like Ric Flair. Stars made with Dusty Rhodes. Going up and down the roads. You cannot tell me that a single solitary match at WrestleMania 36 is better than anything Ric Flair did. The reality is, Bray Wyatt is in the same vein as The Undertaker, limited by the dark aspects and personas he did. Bray Wyatt had four gimmicks his entire career. And 3 of the 4 were failures in the aspect of the whole spectrum. If you think about it, what it means to be a success in the scope of the business. Husky Harris, an NXT reject failure. A gimmick that probably he didn't even really want. He was just handed because he was a Husky guy. He failed to get that over. He went back to NXT. Redeveloped his character down in FCW. The Wyatt family. Don't get me wrong. The Wyatt family was a very compelling story. Their matches with the Shield were great. But the reality is, bad booking combined with not being confident in his ability to get himself over too undermined his ability to get there. He lost his match to Undertaker. what should have been Undertaker putting him over, mind you, and I agree with that. He lost the first WrestleMania match to John Cena. Bray Wyatt's WrestleMania career, he lost more than he won. He only held the World Championship twice, once as Bray Wyatt and once as The Fiend. And it wasn't for very long. And it's not to disrespect Bray Wyatt's legacy, but to say that he towers over Ric Flair is not only criminally stupid, but is a disservice to our audience. Ric Flair is the man. He defined this business. Ric Flair is on the same level as Hogan, Austin, Rock, a 16-time world champion. Hell, it took John Cena 20-some-odd years to get there, too. And John Cena's your GOAT. Bray Wyatt didn't. His career was cut short. And I'm sad by his passing. But we cannot let recency bias impact someone's legacy. We have to look at it as the whole scope. And yes, we could have loved what would have been, but the reality doesn't match the facts.
All right, so I'm going to call this the end of round one here of the debate. And I'm just going to go ahead and let you guys know that I'm legitimately, like, keeping score here in my head. Okay? Do you guys want to know the current score? Or do you want to keep it going?
No, let's wait till the end. Let's wait till the end so we can kind of do, like, what boxing do, where it's like round one, round two.
Okay. All right. Dan, I'm going to go ahead and make 2 more points, and then we're going to turn it back over to Evan.
Okay.
Try and keep him a little bit more concise. Don't need so much artsy stuff. I know what's going on here.
Okay. Okie dokie.
Don't try to appeal to me, Daniel Nugget Roberts.
Okay. This point, it's called Thriving in Harder Times. Ric Flair wrestled when wrestlers had freedom. Promos weren't scripted. Matches could run long, and fans were easier to please. Bray Wyatt lived in the PG era, where creativity was chained, promos are word-for-word scripts, and every fan on social media is ready to tear you apart if you make those mistakes. Despite those shackles, Bray created magic. Flair had freedom, yes, but Bray had obstacles, and he still built legends. Part 4. A connection that cannot be feigned. When Bray Wyatt entered the arena, thousands of fans lifted their phones like fireflies. Think about that. An entire crowd became part of his story. People chanted his words, hung onto his every riddle, lived in his world. And when he passed away, the grief wasn't just sadness for a wrestler. It was heartbreak for an artist who touched people's souls. Ric Flair is beloved, yes, but Bray Wyatt was loved in a different way. Flair entertained, yes, but Bray connected with the audience.
Evan, your turn.
The fact that you say that Flair wrestled in an easier era goes to show your recency bias. It goes to show your drastic lack of understanding of what the wrestling scene was like in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And it proves not only are you a nonsensical moron, but we are all dumber for having listened to it. Like, holy shit. Yes, the promos are unscripted, and yes, they could go 60 minutes to a draw. You do understand that the business back then was far more protected, far more wrestler ran, far more, like, political. It was a dog-eat-dog world. You didn't have health insurance. You were taking care of yourself. You were nursing your injuries. And the fact that you want to say that Flair wrestled in an easier era is mind-boggling. Not only was Flair selling out stadiums with the likes of Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, selling out stadiums with Harley Race, Dusty Rhodes, with the Horsemen, telling all these compelling stories with Barry Windham, Kerry Von Erich. The NWA held everything to a standard. They picked the person they believed that could put the business forward. And that's what Flair did. Time in and time out again, he would wrestle hundreds of 60-minute draws or wins across the world. He wasn't just a period of his, or a piece of his period. He was the pinnacle of his period. He exemplified what it meant to be successful as a wrestler. And mind you, Flair, a victim of human trafficking just after he was born, a victim of an airplane crash, who survived and got back in the ring and carried on the legacy that we all grew to love. For you to come out here and sit there and say that he grew up in an easier era and that he wrestled in an easier era does prove my point. Bray Wyatt, his legacy, Husky Harris, the Wyatt family, The Fiend, the Firefly Funhouse, Uncle Howdy, and what could have been. And that's the problem, Daniel. With Bray, it'll always be a what could have been. His connection with his Fireflies, that's undeniable. I won't doubt that. But you can't woo in public or in a stadium or go to a baseball game or a hockey game or an NFL game or hell, even a soccer game in Europe without Ric fucking Flair coming across your screen or hearing that woo everywhere you go.
All right. You guys have had some really good rounds, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you that you're both on the board. Like, you both have points. You both made some good points. But the score is not tied. We're going to head into the final round of debate, and then before we close this off, I'm going to actually ask each of you a couple of questions that I want to get your opinions on. Okay? So, Dan, let's go ahead and go into your last 2 points.
Okay. Legacy that changed wrestling itself. Flair influenced wrestlers, yes, but Bray Wyatt influenced wrestling itself. Without him, there is no cinematic boneyard matches. There is no Fiend-level creativity in WWE. He proved wrestling could be more than holds and chops. He proved it could be horror, myth, and art. Flair perfected the past, but Bray reinvented the future. And my final point, the courage to evolve. Flair, what's Flair? For 40 years, the same character, the same promos, the same style. Bray Wyatt faced setbacks, bad booking, even being fired, and yet every time he came back as something new, something greater. He dared to risk, to reinvent, to fail, and to rise again. That takes courage. That takes heart. That's the mark of a true artist. I know, Evan, you're probably going to say, oh, but Flair was a 16-time world champion. Titles are scripted. Championships are props. But the worlds Bray Wyatt created were real in our hearts. Oh, but Flair cut the greatest promos. Flair shouted about women and money. Bray whispered about sermons, about fear, fate, and humanity. Flair hyped himself, but Bray spoke for us. And I know all your boys say, Evan, is, oh, but Flair wrestled for decades. Bray achieved more in 10 years than Flair did in 40. Quality will always outweigh quantity.
Wow, and I thought your last segment was stupid as fuck. Quality, huh? Evolution, huh? That's where you're going to go, evolution? The reality is Bray didn't evolve because he wanted to. Bray had to evolve. Because, let me tell you something. Had he not evolved beyond Husky Harris, he would have been fired and sent to the Indies. Had he not evolved beyond the Wyatt family, he would have gotten fired and sent to the Indies. And yeah, the Firefly Funhouse and the Fiend got over. But what happened? They ran into the bone saw that was the tribal chief. And then they were set on fire by Randy Orton and Alexa Bliss. The reality is, Bray Wyatt evolved because he had to. And I know the most ludicrous thing was the fact that you said that Bray accomplished more in 10 years than Flair did in 40. That's just factually not true. Don't get me wrong. Bray was an excellent hand in the ring. He was a good storyteller. But getting a creepy dark gimmick over, hell, as you've seen in the EFED community, just about anybody thinks they can do it. Bray was a good person, and he was an indelible impact to the business. And he will live on forever. But when it comes to Flair, when it comes to Space Mountain, when it comes to the the limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing son of a gun, has defined not only wrestling for decades, he has defined hip-hop culture. He has defined mainstream culture, Daniel. You can't say that someone only defined one thing. Bray Wyatt was a wrestler. Ric Flair rose above wrestling and impacted everything. There's not a single thing in pop culture you can't trace back in some capacity to the Nature Boy, to the Four Horsemen, to WCW. When you talk about Flair failing to evolve, Flair didn't face adversity. Need I remind you of Spartacus? Need I remind you of Eric Bischoff? Need I remind you of him being buried alive in the desert? The atrocities of the late WCW 1999 2000s? Millionaires Club? Flair faced adversity in his own ways. He battled his demons. He lived, breathed, eat, and slept his gimmick. And we should all be thankful for that. And yeah, he talked about money, he talked about women, he talked about his life. Because he lived it, he breathed it, and you sure as hell believe, or better believe, that he will die it.
Okay. Can I make my final closing statement?
No. Like I said, I've got a couple of questions. Damn it! I want some answers here. Okay.
Okay.
All right. First, the same question is going to be laid to both of you. Okay. So, if I had never seen a Ric Flair or Bray Wyatt match, and you were going to convince me to be a Ric Flair or Bray Wyatt fan in one match, which match would you choose? Dan?
I think it's quite an obvious answer, but I think it's generally one of his greatest matches of all time. I would generally say is the Firefly Funhouse match. I mean, it's unique, it's different, it's out there, it's something that it's not your stereotypical wrestling match, but it tells such a perfect story, and it's obviously not a match I recommend to, for first goers, but if you like creativity, if you like something different, if you like something unique, that's not just pure wrestling for 15, 20 minutes, and you want to see a story being told and played out in real time, I would say that.
Okay. Evan?
Okay. Best Flair match and best Bray match?
No, just best Flair match. I'm just asking you for Flair.
Chi-Town Rumble, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Ric Flair, 1989. And I'll do you one better. I'll offer you the best Bray Wyatt match. The Shield versus the Wyatt family, Elimination Chamber, 6-man tag. That was the best match of Bray Wyatt's career.
Okay. Okay. I don't think I need to ask the other question. I'm willing to just go into final points. Go ahead, Daniel. Make your final point.
Okay. So, my closing argument. Ric Flair will forever be remembered as a legend, but Bray Wyatt will be remembered as something more. He was a poet, a dream weaver, a man who didn't just wrestle. He reached into our souls and reminds us that wrestling can be beautiful, terrifying, heartbreaking, and magical all at once. Flair, yes, made us cheer, but Bray Wyatt made us feel. And long after the robes, the titles, and the catchphrase fade away, the fireflies will still shine bright into the night. And that is why Bray Wyatt was and is and forever will be, in my personal opinion, the greatest wrestler and better than Ric Flair. Not Bray Wyatt.
Okay. Well, if we're making a final point here, even though I thought we had already made final points, so your argument here is that Bray's legacy will live on far longer than Ric Flair's. That's the core of your argument. Because he was a better wrestler. Not that he was a better storyteller, but better wrestler. Because you've made some kind of contradictory statements here. So the reality is, skill to skill, Flair's a better ring technician. A better storyteller when it comes to using his body to tell emotions, to sell tickets, to get people to come in. He was the guy that everybody hated, that everybody wanted to be. Now Bray, an amazing storyteller, don't get me wrong, an capable hand in the ring, and his Fireflies will carry on forever, but they're still only going to be part of a narrow audience. When it comes to Ric Flair, Richard Flair, the GOAT, the man who passed the torch to John Cena, the 16-time limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing son of a gun, the reality is he defined his era. Without Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes would probably still be only remembered as a South legend. And Dusty was around actually longer than Flair if you look at it. Without Ric Flair and the Flair for the Gold, Harley Race's original heel gimmick as the NWA champion wouldn't have gotten there necessarily as successfully without having somebody like Ric Flair for him to put a bounty on. Someone who could compete with him in the ring and on the mic. The reality is, without Ric Flair, you don't have Sting, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. You don't have the iconic 1992 Royal Rumble, where he comes from number 3 and wins in an improbable way. That emotion you hear from Heenan is real. Not only for the character, but for the man to celebrate a once renewed and revitalized career. But the reality is, Ric Flair will and always will be the better wrestler, the better storyteller, and he will be the man.
Woo.
Woo.
I felt like you needed to end that with a woo. Like without finishing that with a woo, I don't know if I'm giving you full points.
So I was going to, but I also have a wife and son sleeping upstairs.
Oh, that's
so
fair.
I was trying to.
Oh, all right. Just a quiet.
I was in my
woo.
basement, which is soundproof. I would have let it go.
Just a quiet woo. Okay. All right, you guys have both put forward some fine arguments, and Dan, I applaud you for your preparation in this, even though I'm not sure ChatGPT didn't help. See that look on his face?
Yeah.
I try to be a serious man right now.
All right. So first, Dan, let me say that you made some really excellent points in terms of Bray Wyatt's creativity. While you were both making your points, all through the debate, I was thinking about like both of these guys' whole careers and everything that I've seen from both of them. And I will say that I gave Dan a point there. When it came to creativity as an overall and what they contributed backstage to the creative process in the storytelling, I do think Bray Wyatt was, what he put forward tended to be a little bit more robust. Where Flair's, when he was a booker in WCW, that time period is not nearly regarded with such reverence in the early 90s. But then Evan countered with another point, and Dan, uh, I thought about asking you this as a question. This was the other question I was going to pose to you, and then I just kind of decided not to because I didn't want there to be an embarrassment factor. When you talk about people that Bray faced and people that Ric Flair faced, Ric Flair is responsible for making a lot of superstars, where Bray Wyatt more wrestled established superstars who were already made themselves. And I think that is a knock against Bray, and a real big notch on the side of Flair. You guys both brought up championships, and because of Bray's unfortunate and untimely death, I really didn't want to use the championship marker over time as a correlating factor.
I wasn't going to.
Um, but this ultimately is the thing that made my decision for me, and it was a thought that I had in the middle of one of Dan's arguments. Actually, Evan, can you load up that most recent picture that I put up there? The Wyatt family. All four members of the Wyatt family. You had Eric and Luke, your solid tag team. You had your big enforcer there, and then of course you had your charismatic leader. Unfortunately, Dan, this model is the exact model of the Four Horsemen. It may be recoded into a horror movie setting here, but the Four Horsemen, the initial idea of Ric Flair's biggest contribution, in a lot of ways, his biggest contribution to the industry. A charismatic, world class leader, which I agree, Bray Wyatt was that leader for the Wyatt family. A successful and dominant tag team, and a powerhouse enforcer. This model has been utilized over and over again in groups and stables, from the Four Horsemen all the way to the Wyatt family. And for that reason, on this one, although I think you had a very passionate argument, I am going to have to give the victory to Ric Flair and Evan. Evan, congratulations. Here's your championship belt back. And have that back.
Oh, thank you. Oh, the HKW Championship, right where it belongs. Good game, Dan. You brought a passionate argument. I will give you that. And I hated saying half the things I had to say there. I want that known. Facts are facts.
I was literally tearing up by the end, just talking about it. Cause
yeah, I had a lot more I was going to go into in regards to Ric Flair, but
Dan, one thing
it's kind of like the punch that Ali never threw.
Dan, one thing I think that you were missing, you brought up the Fireflies.
Yeah.
All the fans. And hey, man, I've been a fire. I remember being at Raw, holding my phone up, being a Firefly myself. Okay. But that feeling, I would put that in direct competition. You don't maybe understand how it felt to hear the Four Horsemen's music, and the 2001 theme for Ric Flair when the Four Horsemen were facing off against the NWO. But there was a period, man, I remember it was, you could easily argue that the Horsemen were every bit as big and bigger, and really they were bigger. I got to tell you, man, because it spanned multiple companies, it spanned generations, and take anything away from Bray. I think Evan made a really good point when he said that, you know, um, Bray's career was cut way short, and we don't know what would have happened if he was able to take it to the to his end where he wanted it to end, and that's a shame. But I'm gonna have to give the victory to Evan. Congratulations, Evan. Good argument by you, Dan.
I mean, at least we know he's doing some good storytelling up in this guy. At least we know.
Yeah. And it hurt to have to argue the failure line. That kind of hurt me to say it. But and it's not that he was a failure. It's that he was a victim of his circumstances, in my opinion.
Yeah.
When it comes to debate, you have to use the facts to try to argue your point. And the failure line was a little more heavy-handed than I probably would have wanted to go. And Ric Flair's far from perfect. You guys have heard me. He's my favorite wrestler of all time, but you also have heard me admonish him and basically chastise him. He's not perfect. No human being is. The reality is, when it comes to impact on the wrestling business, we will never know the true depth of Bray's impact. In the Firefly Funhouse, fantastic match. I think a lot of people really love it, and I think it's an easy character to fall in love with. But I think it's easy also to fall in love with recency bias.
Yeah.
And then there's also the logic of falling in the old head camp. So you kind of have to look at it from an analytical lens.
Yeah. I just hope nobody forgets about Bray Wyatt, because this man doesn't deserve to be forgotten like any other wrestler.
Nobody will ever forget.
Unique. It's something special that I think we'll never ever see again. As people will try, people will come close, but
I don't think the world will ever forget about Bray. We won't let them forget it, as much as we try here. And it's his death was just so sudden and so unexpected that it hurt the wrestling community and all the fans. It hurt his coworkers, his family, and our thoughts are still with them. And I really hope WWE course corrects with the Wyatt 6. I want them to. For his sake.
It broke my heart the day I found out. I wept, because it was just I felt like I lost a family member. That's how close me and Bray, and not just me and Bray, I'm sure loads of his fans, and especially the WWE universe and wrestling fans in just general. I think it hit so hard because he was so young and left behind two or three children, and
I believe 2 children.
He was gone too soon, and it's just I felt like we should have had more. We should have seen more from Bray, and it's just
it's one of those things where it's just what could have been. It's unfortunate, and I know that we were debating, and I don't want anybody to think that I was necessarily looking down on what Bray has accomplished in the business. It's hard when you look at the wrestling business in the terms of the totality of impacts of careers and cultural impact, and there's so many factors, and that's kind of the whole point of the thought exercise behind these debates that we do for fun. And with the GOAT tournament, it's all subjective, and everybody's entitled to their opinions. So I hope people at home can understand that. All right, guys. Well, go ahead.
Before I know we've got, what is it, 2 segments left? We got House of Oba and the generic thought of the week, right?
Yeah, generic thought of the week, House of Oba, and there's upcoming projects as well.
Oh, so do you have any upcoming projects, Evan?
Yeah. So this Sunday, I'm hoping I'll get a chance to finally sit down and do some Pokemon TCG Pocket deck profiles. I've been really busy. Brian and Dan know the scope of what I've been doing. Very busy, dealing with a lot of numbers and money things. Working on that, and then I'm planning on doing some dueling guard content, making some ads to actually run here on the pod. So I'm excited for that. Make sure you go to duelingguard.com, enter the code SOG for 15% off. Down below. Before I forget. Yeah, that's what I've got going on right now.
Right on. Over on the channel, I've been doing some we've been doing some vintage video game content. So you can come on over to the YouTube channel and check that out. Me and my daughter Nova have been playing games and having fun, so it's always a good time. How about you, Dan?
Well, obviously, I'm trying to get that, try and get that story out and try and at least fix the mess that they have left me in the WWE, and we'll try and get up that what if in 2 weeks.
So we're gonna see that this week. We're gonna see the what if this week.
By 9:15
this week
is
or
the
next
date.
week?
9:15.
Yeah.
My birthday.
9:15.
You're gonna get it to me by my birthday.
That's your birthday gift.
Let's make that my birthday gift to you.
It better be good.
Wow.
Okay.
What if? Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, we are having a podcast next week, but the following week on the 15th, we won't be. I'll be traveling for work. I might still be online, might still be chatting, from a hotel room. But
unless you want a nugget podcast where it's just me talking into a camera for an hour and a half.
We want audiences, Daniel. We don't want to run them away.
So,
all right. Well, it's time for the generic thought of the week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Generic thought of the week, and then House of Oba. That's the schedule.
All right.
This is your generic thought of the week.
1 second, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Xander Shaw, and this is your generic thought of the week. In life, we make time for the important things, like family and friends. That's why I'm sorry we just ran out of time on tonight's show. It will not be hearing from the House of Oba.
Whoa!
Sorry, we ran out of time.
I guess we don't.
You had such a good argument, Dan.
You had
such
said
a good
it.
argument.
I guess he's right.
That can't be allowed, sure.
That's the generic thought of the week. That's the way. All right. I guess that's it. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
That's not fair.